Hello everyone, this is HammerTron here with a commentary video for you. This time I am commenting on the Hasbro Pulse live stream that happened on Wednesday morning, March 29th, 2023. It started at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, so I watched the video, and it started out as a Dungeons and Dungeons live stream, but they changed that during the live stream when people started commenting on that in the chat section of the video. The hosts are Emily and Kevin, and Emily introduced herself as a marketer for Dungeons and Dragons. I thought she was the brand manager, so I double-checked some earlier videos. There was a Hasbro Pulse 1027 video that was on October 27th, and there she introduced herself as a marketer for Dungeons and Dragons. And the Hasbro Pulse Con that was on September 30th and October 1st of 2022, where she made the comment about pronouns during the G.I. Joe live stream, and she also talked about Dungeons and Dragons there. So I got the impression that she was the brand manager for G.I. Joe and Dungeons and Dragons, but that video seems to be missing from the Hasbro Pulse video list. So anyway, in this video they talked about a board game and some dicelings, which are D20 dice that transform into various monsters. And then they talk about action figures. I'm skipping the board game and the dicelings. I'm going straight to the action figures because that's the part that I'm most interested in. And I'll show some pictures of the action figures and make my comments about those. Here are two of the action figures they revealed during this fan stream. I don't remember the names of the characters. The one on the left they said was a paladin, and the one on the right I don't remember what the name of that character is. And I think these action figures are in the 6-inch scale, so that's nice. I think they look okay. Now, the first 4 action figures from this series, I think, have already been announced, and they're already showing up in the stores. They're showing up in windowless packages, and I've not seen anybody review any of those action figures yet. And perhaps people are going to ignore the action figures based on their experience with the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon characters action figures. Those were released in January of 2023, and they came in windowless boxes, plus there was a large size action figure of Dungeon Master and Venger, and that had been a pretty disastrous release where there were action figures in the wrong packaging because the factory doesn't have window boxes to double check which action figure they're putting in the boxes. And also the action figures have been breaking in people's hands within 5 minutes of opening, so they used some lower quality plastic, and I think that has left a bad taste in people's mouths. So the first 4 action figures based on the movie here, I think, are in the stores, and maybe some people are buying them, but maybe not very many people are. So we'll see. It's too bad these are not coming in window packages, so we can at least look at them in the store before we decide to buy them. So based on the poor quality of the cartoon character action figures, I think people are going to stay away from these. It's too bad. They at least look nice. But if we're going to have action figures, the quality of the plastic needs to be good enough for us to be able to move the joints as they are designed and intended. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Here's a picture of a couple of the owl bears. The one on the left, the white owl bear or snow owl bear, we already knew about that one, and that has already been up for pre-order. The one on the right, it looks like a great horned owl bear, and that's the one they announced for today. And behind that is the box and it's a windowless box. Has a nice picture, but it's an action figure, so I like the picture, but I really want a window box so I can see the action figure in the store when I buy it, to inspect it to make sure it's painted correctly. Now, I'm sure they're using the same body, but the heads look different. The new one, the Great Horned Owl Bear, looks like a different head sculpt than the Snow Owl Bear. And I've heard that Great Horned Owl Bear is a GameStop store exclusive. So I'm not happy about the exclusives. It just makes it a little harder to find some of these action figures. However, these are going to be pretty expensive. That Snow Owl Bear, I think, is $49.99, or about $45. So the Great Horned Owl Bear will probably be that expensive, or maybe a little more expensive if it's a store exclusive. So the high prices, the limited distribution where it's hard to find, and the windowless boxes just really turned me off. I'm not really that interested. And of course, I'm still wondering about the quality of the plastic. We won't know that until people get these in hand and are handling them. But based on what happened with the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon character action figures, it's something that we really need to be concerned about now, because these are action figures and they are meant to be handled, and they have joints, so they are meant to be bent and put into different poses. These look like nice poses here. So when people buy these, they're going to want to be able to put them in poses like this or other similar poses for their dioramas. So they look nice, but there are a lot of things working against the action figures. Here's a picture of the Displacer Beast. It's a little hard to see in this picture. It's all painted black, or it's made of black plastic. It has 6 legs and 2 tentacles. The tentacles coming out of the shoulders. They said the tentacles have bendy wire, and the overall length is about 11 inches, so it's an impressively sized beast. Looks very scary. I do remember reading about this creature in one of the Forgotten Realms novels. I just can't remember which novel it was. It was many years ago. But I read about it in the novel, and they said this was going to be in the movie, and it's certainly a scary looking monster. So I like how it looks. It would be good for a display, but it seems to be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so you can only get it through the Hasbro Pulse webpage. So I'm disappointed about that. It makes it harder to get, and we don't know how many they're going to make, and it's probably going to be pretty expensive, and it's coming in a windowless box, and of course we have to worry about the quality of the plastic being used, because when we get an action figure, we want to bend the bendy wire tentacles, and we want to move the joints to put it into different poses. So a lot of things are working against it, and if it's going to be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, that means people are not going to see this in the store and think that it's something interesting that they might want to buy. So I think Hasbro is limiting how many potential new customers they can get for this action figure line, which is too bad. It certainly looks nice, but there are a lot of things working against it. So I don't know if I'll be getting one because of all the problems I've listed about it. Here's a picture of another monster action figure, but it's also a named character. This is Xanathar, a beholder. And there's a phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. However, I think that phrase is older than this fantasy creature. And when they created this fantasy creature, I'm sure they were joking, because they certainly made this thing ugly. Certainly looks neat, though. Looks like the way it's described or illustrated in some of the Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game books and comic books. So it's impressive. Great big ball there, lots of sharp teeth, and a big central eye, and then an eye at the end of each eye stalk around the head. And is it sitting on a little clear plastic piece to make it look like it's floating in the air? A little hard to tell in this photo, but it certainly looks impressive. The biggest disappointment, though, is this is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. The only way to get it is through the Hasbro Pulse webpage, so that limits the availability of this action figure, and I'm sure it's pretty expensive too. It also comes in a windowless box, and then I have to wonder about the quality of the plastic. So there are a lot of things working against it, and I'm sure this is not something that parents would want to buy for their little children, but there might be teenagers that their parents would not object too strongly to their teenager getting one of these. And I'm sure there are many adult collectors. It would be nice if this were available through retail stores where people could find it. Maybe more people would find it. As it is, the limited distribution, I think, will hurt the success of the action figure. Certainly looks nice though, but because of all the problems I've listed, I'm very unlikely to actually buy one of these, which is too bad, because Dungeons and Dragons does have a lot of characters and monsters that would just make nice display pieces, or they'd be good for dioramas. I thought this Hasbro Dungeons and Dragons action figure live stream or fan stream was pretty nicely done. They seemed to behave professionally about it. They were talking about the products. They were being positive about it. I didn't notice any agenda, so I was happy about that. And the parts I was most interested in were the action figures, and the action figures certainly looked nice, but there are some problems with the prices and the windowless boxes and the distribution. Those are obvious problems. And then I still have to wonder about the quality of the plastic, but the action figures certainly do look nice. So I enjoyed seeing the action figures, but I think I would enjoy it more if I felt like I could actually get my own action figures. But anyway, it was a pretty nice live stream. Anyway, thank you for watching my commentary video here. Please like my video, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the action figures you saw, and please subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my future action figure reviews and my commentary. I'll see you next time.